Back to it this weekend. What's it been like being back out on the grass with the squad?
Yeah, good. It's the boys had a few days off and managed to recharge the batteries a bit and refresh for another big push. So it's a good balance of a couple of weeks really. Good training, good rest, and obviously good focus now and getting back on the job.
Any fresh injury concerns rear their heads over the 2 weeks?
Not really, no. No, the boys came through the game okay, and touch wood, the ones that have came through internationals should be all right. So, yeah, fingers crossed.
Obviously, it comes off the back of that win at Leicester, the league leaders. Really good feeling around the dressing room, I imagine, after that. How do you keep that going at through the international break to kind of take it into the next game?
I think there's a natural feeling of, obviously there's a bit of confidence gained from that, and there's a natural lift for everybody. At the same point, there's a natural bit of a pause and switching off. I think the boys who have not gone away on international, it's important that they switch off and have a breather and come again stronger. And for me, this game's even bigger than the Leicester game. I think there's a natural buzz and there's a natural feeling around the Leicester game. Top of the league and coming down from the Premier League and good team. I think there was a big feeling in the stadium that it was a big game. For us, this is an even bigger game, going down to Bristol, new manager, first game at home, and with total respect for Bristol, it's one that is you can take your eye off the back of Leicester, because everyone's still enjoying Leicester, but that's done, and this challenge is even bigger for us. So we're looking forward to it and be ready for that. But we certainly use the energy and the confidence that we've gained over recent weeks.
You mentioned Bristol City's changing manager there. Does that almost change your expectations of the game? Because obviously, with the timing of when it happened, he's had time to kind of bed in his ideas into the squad as well.
Yeah, of course, there's that goes into it in terms of trying to get a gauge on what they're going to look like, what they're going to try to do, and it's not always easy, of course, because there's not loads to go on, but and then there's a big element of trusting what we do and trusting the players, and you got to take what's in front of you really and embrace the challenge. So it's in some ways it can make it a little bit more difficult. In some ways it kind of simplifies it, because there's not loads to delve into, and we can kind of take what we can and trust ourselves an awful lot.
Darragh Lenihan obviously confirmed this week he's out for the season. Obviously that's a blow in terms of your squad, but I imagine he'll still be a really positive influence around the squad as well.
Yeah, it's obviously a blow to lose Darragh. We've suffered from a few injuries recently, and obviously Tommy and Darragh being longer term. So yeah, it's a blow. Unfortunately, it is part of the game. It's not the nice part of the game, but it is part of the game, and as a squad, and we have to deal with it. And the boys have done that very well so far, And but Darragh is a big influence around the group in the dressing room. He'll continue to do that. To be honest, all the boys who have been absent or injured or missed out over recent weeks, then they've all been massive influence around the group, which shows how strong it is.
And last question from me. Obviously, this is the first game of quite a long run in up till Christmas. It's going to be a very busy time for the squad. You've just had that last goal per there in terms of the international break. What's your message to the squad about what you want to see them achieve over that period?
Just keep going, keep improving. I think it's let's not get too carried away with what's coming up. I think game at a time, and like we have done all since I got here, and what's next? What can we control, and game by game, and there's a balance now for us, obviously managing the squad, but it's busy, but it's possible. It's no big deal really. The boys are fit, they're strong, they're looking forward to playing games, so the more games the better for me.
Thanks, Michael.
Michael, Hayden Hackney certainly had an impressive international break away. Just how much potential has he got here back at Borough?
Yeah, delighted for Hayden. He's had another good couple of games away with England, and he's settled in very well when he's gone there, watched the games, and he looks at home, which is a really good sign. And every time he's the type Hayden, every time there's a challenge or a step up, he kind of takes to it quite naturally, and he's done that ever since I came here. So yeah, he's full of potential. There's loads more to come from him. He's doing great. Really enjoy working with him. He's obviously a big part of the team. So it's fantastic for the club to have players come through the academy, and be recognised, you know, for national teams and have a big part to play in the first team. It's what the academy is all about, and I think Hayden is the shining light of that at the moment.
Bristol, like Plymouth recently, are both long away trips. Do you yourself enjoy the long away trips, or do you prefer a trip where you can get back quickly and shift your focus quickly to the next game?
I said it before the exit in Plymouth. We're lucky, we're fortunate that it's not actually that far. You know, we're able to jump on the plane and it's 40 minutes, so it's it seems a lot, and there's obviously a lot of miles to cover. But really, we're quite fortunate in that respect. So the travel really isn't a big deal for us.
That's all for me. Thank you.
Mike, you mentioned the period there up to and including the Coventry game on New Year's Day. I think it's 30 points to play for. I mean, would you expect by that time the table, might start to kind of take shape a bit?
Yeah, maybe. Even then, there's still a fair stretch, between then and the end of the season. I wouldn't necessarily say there's a certain point in the season where you kind of look at the table and think, all right, that's where we are. I just think it's just keep winning games as much as you can, picking up points. If you can't win games, pick up points, and then it'll kind of work itself out. I'm not one for setting a target. I'm not one for looking at a table at a certain time. It is what it is. You got to get through the season, so just appreciate and enjoy the challenge going week by week, really.
Yeah, you mentioned obviously Liam Manning going in at Bristol. Is he someone you know well at all? Am I right in saying you did your pro licence together? Is that right?
Yeah, we were on the same course. So yeah, we come across each other, spent some time together. So it'll be good to catch up. Delighted for him. It's a really good job, terrific job for him, and he's obviously earned it. So yeah, I'm sure he'll pose us a challenge on Saturday.
When you do them courses, do you kind of bounce ideas or tactical thinking off one another?
Yeah, little bits and pieces, yeah, but not enough to know what he's going to do on Saturday.
Yeah, obviously, just on Dower, obviously he's the second kind of defender and second really experienced defender that you've lost for the season. Now, I mean, thinking ahead to January, does that then start to potentially change plans for January or make things?
I think it's just always evolving. There's always moving parts when you're trying to balance the squad, and you've got transfer windows, or you've got boys that are fit or not fit, or in good form, or maybe he's having a bit of a pause, if you like, and ready to come again. So it's never set. There's always a surprise, or there's always a little change along the line. So we're always ready for that anyway. Losing players, senior players over a period of time is a blow. It's disappointing, but that's why we have the squad, and boys are there to take the opportunities and take the chances and to flourish, and they've certainly done that of late.
Yeah, and just lastly from me, after the Leicester game, you highlighted the two full-backs. I know we've spoken much about Rav, but in terms of Lucas on the other side of it, he had quite a difficult start at the club, I think it's fair to say, but since he's come back into the team, have you been impressed with how he's handled that, the character that he's shown?
Yeah, I've been hugely impressed. I wouldn't say I'm surprised, because knowing him as a player, I think it's and as a person, of his drive and his determination, you could see that from the start as well. And sometimes that little setback, that little challenge, kind of makes you in the end. And delighted for the way he's playing. It's great to see. It's what we expected, what we knew he was capable of, and there's still loads more to come.
Yeah, there was that night obviously at Hillsborough where he came off at half time. Did you ever have that in your playing career where you had a particularly difficult night and it
plenty of them
coming off at half time? Yeah, and I mean, I presume from that you probably know that it wouldn't have been a nice thing for Lucas, and I'm sure that would have been in your thought on the night when you made the decision, albeit you've got to think about the bigger result and the team as a whole in making that. But I mean, in terms of the character to come through that.
Yeah, I think that all the time when I look back over the moments in my career or in my life, it's the ones that are challenging a little bit, that not necessarily at the time are pleasant and you enjoy going through, but they kind of make you. They make you or break you. It depends how you come out of it, but certainly if you come out of it, you come out stronger and you're much better for it. I've totally found that through my career, and I think there's an understanding. Well, it certainly is for me. Well, that is one game or two games or three games doesn't make or break a player's career. We're there to support the players and we believe in them. They're here for a reason. So it's not over a week or two where we'll make a judgment and it's the beginning or the end. It's a period of time, and that goes with all the players really, and seeing them develop and have that confidence in us that we have the belief in them.
Riley and
Marcus, how are they in terms of this last 2 weeks? Have they got them any nearer, or where are they at?
They're nearer, but not near. No, they're not that close, to be honest. Still a few weeks away.
We're not talking hopefully Dara style.
Oh no, it's not a season. No, you're talking weeks really. So how many weeks that is? It's, as I said from the start with Riley, it's a little bit because it's his foot and it's a plantar fascia. It's not an easy one to get on top of. So it's we're working through that, and he's making progress, which is important. Marcus is a good few weeks, so we'll work through that, and we'll get him back as quick as we can.
Your two goalkeepers, potentially, they could be heading off in January, couldn't they? For a bit, Senny obviously to Africa, Cup of Nations, Tom to Australia. I mean, does that have to influence a little bit the way you deal with your keepers as a whole between now and January, i.e. maybe bringing other people into the squad so that you're not all of a sudden in January putting, people in who've never even been in a matchday squad this season?
Yeah, it's obviously something we've got to look at. Something we've been aware of. So it's not new for us. We knew the situation, and there's a little bit of making plans. There's a little bit I was talking before. There's moving parts. Things change, but of course you got to have a plan and understanding what it might look like. So yeah, that's kind of ongoing really. But yeah, we're fully aware of it. And
I presume because you're aware of it, the lads who are away. I mean, most loans now are callback options anyway. But I would suspect, am I right? Would I be right in thinking that is an option?
It's one of the options. Yeah, it's one of the options, and there's all sorts goes into that. Is each individual what they need as well. Of course, it's what's best for us and for the team and what we need. But there's a big element of each situation, and it's not pulling everyone back just because we need them back here. Actually, they've got their kind of development as well to think about. So it's not just a straightforward let's get every goalkeeper back that we've got. I think there's an awful lot goes into that, and we'll do, and we'll try and make the best for everyone anyway.
When you talked about Hayden there, I mean, he's come such a long way in a very, very short space of time, and he's obviously now got the international stuff as well. And I mean, you obviously deal with him as a player in terms of developing his technique, tactically, all that side of it. How much do you work with him as a person just to make sure that, because everything we hear about him is that he's really level-headed, it's not going to affect it, but there are loads of examples in the past of players where it has been difficult for them to mentally deal with all of that. How much do you have to focus on that?
To be honest with you, I think there's no sign of that with Hayden. He's coped with everything, as I said before, in terms of football. Every time there's a challenge, he's stepped up and his game's taken on that challenge, and he's not changed one bit as a person, as a lad, since I walked through the door, which is testament to him and his family, and it's not easy to do that. So a lot of respect goes out to him for that. There's a lot can be thrown at you. There can be a lot of, especially how well he's done. It can turn your head. People stopping you in the street, and all of a sudden it can change you as a person. But it certainly hasn't done that. He's a dream to work with. Really is. He comes in, gets on with his work, wants to improve, wants to learn, but absolutely no fuss. So I'm sure he'll continue that. I don't worry about him one bit in terms of that side of things. I think whatever is thrown at him, he can cope with, because he does it in such a kind of assurance and with an authority, really, but and then in a confidence, but no fuss, which is a fabulous way to be.
And do you think both on and off the pitch, he's benefited an awful lot from having Johnny next to him on the pitch, next to him in the dressing room, all that? Because yes, they're different midfielders, but in terms of a kind of role model, if you like, you couldn't really ask for much better, could you?
I think it's vital. I've said it to you before. I think about senior players are so important, to have good senior players, senior pros. That sounds quite an old-fashioned thing. You've seen the old senior pros, but I think it's. I certainly had it, and I was fortunate enough at West Ham to have really good ones around me. I had John Moncur and Steve Lomas at the time, who were in the first team, and then helped me when I got in there, similar to what Johnny's helping Hayden, and I think there's a good number of good, really senior lads that look after the young boys and guide them in different ways. Some speak to them a bit, some set the example, but what the boys do see is kind of how to go about your business day in, day out, how to react, how to behave, and then obviously the performance comes a little bit from yourself and expressing yourself and doing what you're good at, and it's a really good place to do that. I think the young boys are all thriving, which is fantastic to see.
And just lastly with me, I know at the start of the season you always said, you know, the confidence was there, that things were turning and everything, but in terms of where you are now in your league position and the form that you were in prior to the international break, you must be pleased with the position you've got yourself in to now attack this big chunk of games between now and the start of next year. And you know, not to be complacent or anything, I accept that, but it's a good launching pad, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm more pleased with the way kind of the boys have dealt with it, really, and kept a level edge. You're talking about Hayden, and you know, he's a good example of that. But I think in general, some of the boys started the season when we weren't getting the results, but they never really flinched, you know, and always kept believing and always kept on the right track. And then you come through it, and so I'm more impressed with the way the boys have coped with it, really, more than anything. And yeah, we've got the trust and utmost belief in them, and kept telling them that, but they've still got to feel it and deal with it, really, and they've certainly done that over time at the team, but as a squad, and we need to keep that trend going, you know. And now we're in a good position, decent position, good position, decent position, whatever it is. And I'm not exactly sure, to be honest, exactly where in the league, but I've now got a rough idea because I don't really pay much attention at this point. But it's about winning games, you know, and seeing where that takes us. And there's some good teams in the league. I think we know that. We've came up against some, and we'll come up against some in the next few weeks. So there's always new challenges ahead.